Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is another day. Today, our topics will be, well, yeah, that's going to be what it is, not what is this even? Today, we're at day 14 of the 100 Days of Code Challenge with Leon Anderson. Leon, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I expected this day to a little bit more time for coding, but only 1 to 2 hours, unfortunately. But that's still enough to go through almost one full section of the course. And yeah, I learned some cool stuff as always. The for each method, I think we described. I touched on that yesterday, so I don't go on that. The map method. Okay, let's recall what the map method was. Basically, there were so many different things we've been doing with arrays. So basically, map can access an array, and you can assign like a condition to it, and then it maps out all the contents of the array into a new array, all the contents of the array that fit the conditions into a new array. It's almost like a filter, but okay, what was the difference to the filter? Because we also went into filters. Wait a second, what's the difference to the filter? Map and filter. David, let me check. Let me look into the map code to see it. Map. I think it's very similar to filter, but let me check filter code.
So I can tell you what you described was how filter works. So map works differently.
Okay, because no. So the example I have here from the course, we used map on an object, and we mapped the okay, on one hand, in objects you have you have keys and elements, or keys and what's the second? What's the
keys and values?
Values, exactly. It mapped out values of a certain key. So it's basically a filter for objects, but I'm not sure if maps can be used for not objects.
Would you mind sending me a screenshot right now? Because it sounds like he's either teaching some weird stuff or we have a little bit of confusion going on here. Or if you want to, you can also share your screen, whatever you prefer.
I'll send you the code directly.
Okay, sweet. So what do we have here? We have full names is an array of objects. And now what we do is we map over it and we grab each full name.
This one is wrong. The upper one is wrong. I wrote down the wrong one on purpose to see the difference. So the lower one is
this?
Because it's wrong because it's the parameter is full name, but it has to be object.
No, it has to. It didn't have a capital N.
No, it has to be different than the array name.
No,
No?
because of shadowing. This one's overriding it. Let's look at it. Comes a lot loud.
Okay,
First
okay.
moon,
What?
one, first moon, and then we have console, load, first moons, two, and we can even do here, the heavy name is full name suite here. So we save this, and as you can see, it's the same. And the bug that you had was the code, the way that you sent it to me, you had this N in lowercase. So full names is not defined, right? Because you call this full names with a capital N. But again, this is the classical error, right, that confuses people, which is called shadowing, which is when you name a parameter or define a variable with the same name of something that's also defined in the outer scope.
Yes.
So it's always
Yes.
better to do the different name. But the name actually doesn't matter. So you don't need to name it objects or anything. You can also name it like, I don't know, Elon Musk. Like the name is literally doesn't matter.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, anyway, basically the map is a method in which you put a function that assigns the condition that it has to be that maps out all the elements of a certain, for example, in this case, that it maps out all the elements with the key that maps out all the values of the that has the key first.
So I'm a little bit confused right now in the sense that I don't know if you understand it correctly and just use a little bit of wrong vocabulary, or if you didn't understand it correctly. So
Okay.
Can you tell me explicitly what is the difference between map and filter? And actually, let me do normal functions here. So,
Pardon?
what is the difference between map and filter?
Can you show me an example of a filter so I can, because I have to see the code to explain the difference.
Sure, let's do one real quick.
Or is that too much? Is that too much? Too much hint? Too much spoiler?
Good, sure, why not? Full names, that map. I'm going to remove the second one here because they're basically the same. And here we say names without a. We say full names dot filter function. Can say full name to again, sure, why not? I mean, technically it's shadowing, but and then we turn full names first dot includes maybe an A.
Yes. So the difference that I'm seeing is that. Oh, wait a second. The postman is ringing.
Voice.
Okay, I let the postman in. So the difference that I'm seeing is that it's just a different type of condition that we can apply, and a way more, like with filter we can apply way more specific conditions, and with map it's I'm not sure about it, but that's what I would say is the main difference. And that map I think both is putting out arrays, right?
That is correct, yes.
And the content which comes into the array has certain conditions that it has to.
No, well, this is depending on words. I feel like you either are using the wrong word here, or you have the wrong concept in your mind.
Okay. Um, we are close to to the time limit, I guess.
Oh, we can go a few minutes over, I think. Let's make this properly.
Okay. Well, what I'm seeing as a condition is that it only maps out certain values. So that's a condition to me, which is defined by a function. Could
Got
we?
it. No.
What would happen? What would happen if we put the function out of the filter example into the map example? Would that work?
Yes. So try to predict what would happen, and then after your prediction, we will look at what happens in the real world.
Okay. I have no idea.
Got it.
To me, it seems like the same. Then, if we can actually use it.
Let's leave this as an exercise for a little later. Let's do it this way. I'm gonna explain to you what map and filter do, and then you can try and answer the question again. Okay?
Okay, got it.
So let's first take filter because I feel like you fully understood it, but let's put it in perspective. Technically, the signature for the filter function looks like this. You give it a predicate, which basically means predicate means, and you also choose the word condition, right? Predicate is a special condition that either is true or false. So you can have a condition like is he taller than 3 meters, right? That can either be true or false. And those conditions that can either be true or false are predicates. And filter is a function that is basically executing such a predicate on each value of the array, and then returns the subarray for every element for which this predicate is true. So basically we can have a filter function. Let's say we take the function is even, right? That takes in a number and it returns if the number, you remember this operator, right? The remainder modulo. If the function is 0. Yes, exactly. And this thing basically returns true or false. But one important thing to know about the filter function is that if the thing that you return is not true or false, then JavaScript tries to coerce it to a true or false value. So basically, JavaScript behind the scenes does this with the value. So we're going to also look at how that has an effect in a little bit. But basically, each value in JavaScript will either be coerced to true or false. For example, an empty string will be coerced to false. But a string with just a little bit of content, like let's say an A, this will already coerce to true. And then you can have like an empty array, counterintuitive, is also true. And this is also one of the quirks about JavaScript, that it's very arbitrary what coerces to false or true. Therefore, one good rule of thumb is to make sure that the function that you supply to array always clearly returns true or false, so that the behavior is clearly the way that you intend it to be. So let's look at it. Let's say we have an array of numbers. I think we have a numbers array here, so let's take that. We have a numbers array here. Get all the even numbers. What you can do is const even numbers is equal to numbers dot filter. None of these out here. Yeah, numbers dot filter, and then we give it the is even function here. I'm just passing this function as an argument here, as a higher order function, like you learned yesterday, right?
Yes.
Good. And now let's log out the even numbers. What do you expect is going to be logged out?
all the uneven numbers. So 1 and 3 gets knocked out. So printed out is 2 and 4.
Yes, exactly. Numbers, let's check that. 2 and 4, yes, okay. Sweet. So filter, I think, is pretty clear now. Now let's look at what map does. So for map, we need a different function that does something differently. So map basically goes through each element in the array and just applies the function that you give map on it. But then it returns the result. So whenever you have an array of length, let's say 8, right, you always get back an array of length 8. Whereas with filter, you might get an array that is shorter than the array that you've put in, because map literally just executes the function that it receives on each element in the array. Therefore, you can think of map as basically a way to transform. Think of map as a transformer to transform each value. Yeah, in the array. So what we can do, for example, let's say we take a function double, and we get a number, and we return it. We can number times 2, and then we say const doubled numbers equals to array.map of double, and then we console.log doubled numbers. So the numbers, what do you predict?
Can you? I don't see what's behind the.
I can comment it up.
Map of double. Okay, map of double. Const double numbers array map double numbers map double. Well, it will double each of them, so it will be 2, 4, 6, 8.
Let's check doubled numbers, and that's correct, exactly. So now, knowing how these work, let's go back in here. Let's go back here, and what happens if we would put this function right here into the map function? What do you expect to get back?
It will try to include an A into each of the things.
But did you know what includes stuff?
It checks for a true and false, so it's not something that transforms something, right?
Well, the includes function basically checks if it can only be used on a string, and if that string contains whatever you write here, that it returns true, otherwise false.
Yeah, it checks for true and false. That's what I said. Yeah.
Yes. So what do you expect the output will be when we do put this here for this console log?
It will just output anything as it is. I would say, because it can't transform anything with this function. It can't. It will put out. It will basically just copy the array, because if the function only checks, it can't transform anything, or it turns out undefined. I don't know.
Let's think about how filter works again. Right? Filter meets a function that ideally either returns true or false, right?
Yes.
And this map function basically writes into the new array the result of each element applied to the function that you give it. So you have to think about it, that this function, if you put this function here...
Okay. Yeah. Then it will write true, false, true, false, false, true, true, and this stuff, I guess.
Exactly. Let's look at it. So we grab this, and we switch this out. Now we look at here, first name, false, because the first name includes an A. Albus, because we only check for lowercase a. So yeah, false is correct. Harry is correct, contains a lowercase a. Hermione, false is correct. Ron, false is correct. Lucius, false is correct. Minerva, true is correct. And Severus, false is also correct. Okay, now comes the curveball. What if we put this here? What do you expect to get printed out?
Full name first. Full name first. There's like this will probably not change anything because there's nothing to check for if it's true or false. So
Well, if you're correct in
or
that,
it okay, pardon?
yeah, you're correct in that it won't change anything. But I wonder if you understood the reason why that is.
So it puts out the same string as before, or what? Or what?
No, it's okay. Well, what do you mean? You said it will put out the same thing. What do you mean by that? And then I can tell you if it's correct or not.
First. Maybe it will just return undefined because there's no function that it can actually apply to check for true and false. So filter should, I don't know.
Well, we clearly still give it a function, right? It's still getting function full names, but then instead of saying full names first includes, it would say just full names dot first. So it clearly receives a function that it can execute.
So it checks if full names has a first or not.
Pretty much, yeah, you're on the right track.
If it includes or if it is, I don't know. Like first, wait, the first method checks. It's the first is a description of the value, so it checks if the value is first, and then it probably includes it because it is. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're pretty much there. So full names dot first for the first element. What would that be?
Well, it will just print out first.
No, because filter doesn't change the values, right? It only either includes them or doesn't include them.
Maybe it won't. Does it? Oh wait. Does it check? Wait a second. I don't know. I'm confused.
Well, you're close. Let's stick with it. So try to answer the question, right? If we have full names, if we have this function and we return full names dot first, what is full names dot first for the first element of the array?
Albus.
What's it for the second?
Harry.
Exactly, and so on, right? So we always return the first name for each element. And now we have to think back about what I told you earlier. Well, if the thing that's being returned from the predicate function is not true or false, then JavaScript implicitly does typecasts them to a Boolean. And as I showed you earlier, a Boolean or steady string is always true. So basically, it will return true for each element, which means it just returns the same array as it is, because every value is true.
Even the last? Even last? Or will it only return the first
Severus also has a first name.
No, I mean last. The value,
because
the key last.
Yeah, exactly. Because a filter never changes the content of the array. It only decides will this element be included or not. So basically, if we look at here in our first name array, it includes every single element with both keys, because it basically checks, hey, for the first element, is for them just first. This function basically returns for them dot first. Then, because it's neither true or false, it gets typecast to a boolean of any string that is not empty is always true. So for each element, we get true back. So when we get true back, then filter doesn't change. Filter never changes the contents of the array. It just returns every single element.
And why does it return the last name as well? Because
it's part of the element, right? The full element is
okay.
first and last name. It doesn't matter what we check here. Like we could even just always return true here, and then it just simply returns the full array.
Okay, so you're saying object equals element.
Yes, this is an array of objects, right? If you think about full length the array, then each element in this array is just an object. But it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's an array of arrays or.
So the filter checks the element and not each sub-element.
Yes, because there's no such thing as a sub-element.
I mean, there's an element within the object, or aren't these called elements?
No, they're not called elements. Arrays have elements, objects have keys and values, right?
Okay. I thought that this is.
But even if we make these arrays, like even if we do this and we make each of them an array, let me do this and fix the last one. Like obviously full names dot first would crash, right? Because now we have arrays and we need to do this. But if we have a function that works on arrays, for example, just returning true, or we could say array dot length, full names dot length is bigger than 0, which is especially confusing now because we have the shadowing going on. So maybe let's stop shadowing. Let's do let's call it like element or something, right? And then we say element or whatever, dot length is bigger than 0, and let's comment this out because this is crashing. But now it just returns every single array, right? That's why I said there's no such thing as a sub-element, because you only think about this array and its elements, and it doesn't matter what it is.
And if you would insert another, like if you would say, for example, element dot sub-element dot length, wouldn't it go into each
thing with it? Because that sub-element is nothing. It's not defined. There is no such thing as a sub-element in JavaScript.
But if these are arrays, they have elements too, don't they? If you have an array within an array,
yes,
then they have elements too.
Yes.
So we can call it array element or of second order. I don't know. If you would do element dot element 2, isn't that accessing the elements within the element, within the array?
No, because for an array you cannot do dot element, right? You can do something like dot 0 maybe to access the 0th element, but now we have the problem that an object does not have a dot length. Right? This is an object now, because we have the first element, we check its 0 is element, which is this object. And then we take the next one and we check this object and this object. And right now we just return an object, and also again like a boolean.
Would it be this if the curly brackets were removed?
Curly brackets were removed? What do you mean? Which curly brackets?
Inside of all the element arrays.
That's not a thing, right? You cannot have first colon.
Yeah.
That's not the JavaScript.
Yeah. But if you would just have albus.dumble, Albus, comma Dumbledore inside.
Okay.
Isn't Albus and Dumbledore also an element?
Yeah, these
That
are
you can-
elements of this array right here, right?
So aren't those sub-elements?
Well, yeah, you could call it sub-element if you want to, yeah. But it's another term, like
Okay.
filter or const or return,
But how can we access those?
like this.
Okay, you can't do like element dot and then you go into a deeper level. Like you can't string those infinitely if you have nested
Yes, because
arrays.
even if you have a normal array, right, like full names right here, if you do it here, dot watch, like, there is no thing where you can access this with the dot notation. You have to do the curly brackets if you want to do it. Or there's also ends, maybe. Or it will be in the language. So.
Okay, but for some reason we can create the association of element with the arrays by putting it inside of a function.
But this is just a name. Again, this can also be named creature.
Yes, but it also but it always accesses the element, right?
Yes.
Okay. And if we would want to go into sub arrays, like if you nest arrays infinitely, then you would have to do like many square brackets after another, or
Yeah, for example.
okay, got it. Okay, so if you want to go one layer deep into an array, you can use the dot, and if you want to go deeper, then you can't anymore.
What do you mean by you can use the dot? Do you mean this right here?
You can use you can describe them with words like crater.
That's just because filter takes a function, right? So this has nothing to do with how you usually access arrays.
Okay. So you're okay.
But this is a different concept, right? Accessing arrays works like this, like numbers, 0, that's how you access arrays. And this right here is in the implementation of filter, it is written in a way where it passes to each function the first element. I can even show it to you. Like we can write our own filter function. We can say filter takes an array and the predicate function, and then we say array. We say for let I equals 0, I less than array dot length, and then I pass. Then we say if we say here const result is an empty array, and we can say here if predicate of array I, then we say result dot push array I, and then we return the result. What is he getting about? Cannot read. Read only property of message. Oh yeah, obviously. Yeah. Basically, this right here. Well, let's replace it. We can then let's fix this right here again. First, Albus, first Dumbledore, and then get rid of these, get rid of these. Just like this. So we've got only the normal array again, right? And now we implement the same stuff, const first names with a equals to equals to filter of full names with our filter function, which is basically we take our full name and then we return full name dot first includes a, and it works the same, right? We only get the two objects. So now you can see how the reason why this is only executed on the first element is because basically in the behind the scenes implementation, the predicate only gets the first element. So you can say const first element, little clearer I, we push first element here, and first element here. That's
Got
basically
it.
how it is implemented behind the
Got it.
scenes.
Const first element equals array of I. Okay, that makes sense to me. Yeah. Got it.
Sweet.
Let me write that down real quick. Const first element.
I can send it to you if you want to.
Oh yeah, please send that line to me. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Const first element equals array. Yes. Okay, that's awesome.
And your homework could be, if you want to try it, it's a good exercise, is I've shown you here how you implement filter, right? You can try and implement your own map function.
So basically,
because map is also, you can also write your own map function like this.
So basically trying to reproduce what map is under the hood.
Yes, exactly. I think that would be a cool exercise for you too, because then you also really understand the difference between filter and map.
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay. I'm curious if I can do it, but sounds awesome.
We'll look at it then tomorrow in one session.
Okay. Homework.
Or figure out first homework. No, I don't know.
Pardon?
I was just happy to think I have a cool idea to do this homework thing.
Yes.
Also for the people in the chat, if you have any questions, put them in the comments. You can do the same homework if you like, and then tomorrow we compare.
Awesome. Yeah. I think let's save the rest for tomorrow.
Got it. Okay. So tomorrow we're gonna do basically 2 days worth of learning.
Yeah,
nice,
one and a half.
awesome.
1.5.
1.5. Sweet. Yeah, let's keep it short and sweet. Today we took a deep look into filter and map, but it's worth it. Filter and map are like some of the most versatile functions in JavaScript. You're gonna use them all over the place. These are really from all the stuff that you've learned, obviously, except stuff like const, and functions in general. But this is one of the features that you've learned that is really, really useful, and we'll see tons of real world usage. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed. This was 14 days, 2 weeks in, and already learning the first really useful real world stuff of 100 days of code with Leon Anderson. We are here every day. If you are thinking about learning how to code and you want to have some study buddies, if you want to view it like that, some mentoring too, take this as an opportunity to also hold yourself accountable and just do a little bit each day. Sometimes you have just a 2-hour day. Sometimes you have a 10-minute day. Sometimes you go all out and do 8 hours. But whatever you do, just make sure that you get better every day, and you will then learn how to code. And once you learn how to code, then you'll be able to, build stuff that you want to build, or you can sell your time for maybe more money than you're making right now. And you can have a very comfortable job that is very secure and that is also very future-proof. So I hope you learned something today, and this has been the Cold Call with
Leon Anderson and my mentor,
Alice Neal from TEDx Dev. See you guys.
Bye-bye.